It all started with whispers that quickly turned into chaos across Atlanta's reality TV streets. People were talking, timelines were flooded, and fans couldn't believe their eyes when Jasmine suddenly stepped back into the picture. After years of tension, heartbreak, and unfinished business, she reportedly confronted Kirk and Rasheeda face to face, and the energy was nothing short of explosive. Some claim it wasn't just about the past anymore, but about a new kind of relationship dynamic that left everyone's jaws on the floor. The word poly started trending, and before anyone could catch their breath, Yandy's name got pulled into the mess too. Rumors began to swirl that Jasmine wanted clarity, not chaos. But when old wounds and fresh accusations collided, the Frost family found themselves once again at the center of love and hip-hop's biggest storm. Kirk tried to stay calm. Rasheeda's patience was running thin, and Yandy's presence only added more fuel to the fire. Social media exploded with divided opinions. Was Jasmine crossing the line, or finally speaking her truth? With so many emotions running high and alliances breaking apart, the only thing certain was that this confrontation was about to change. If the tension inside the Atlanta studio was thick enough to cut with a knife, everyone could feel it. That strange mix of awkward silence and suppressed emotions waiting to erupt. Cameras were rolling, producers whispering behind the scenes, and in the middle of it all stood Jasmine. Calm, collected, but clearly ready to address years of pent-up frustration. It wasn't the first time her name had been tied to Kirk and Rasheeda's story, but this time felt different. This wasn't about gossip anymore. This was about unfinished business that refused to stay buried. As soon as Jasmine walked in, the air changed. Rasheeda's eyes locked on her, expression unreadable but heavy with memories. Kirk shifted uncomfortably in his seat, the kind of nervousness only someone with history could have. Jasmine took a deep breath before speaking, her voice firm yet trembling with emotion. "I didn't come here to start anything," she said, "but I think it's time we stop pretending like everything's fine when it's clearly not." The room fell silent for a moment. Even the background noise of phones buzzing and producers whispering seemed to fade away. Rasheeda leaned forward, trying to keep her composure. "Girl, what exactly are you trying to say? Because if this is about the past, we've already had that conversation." Jasmine shook her head. "No, it's not just about the past. It's about what's happening right now. People out there talking about this new setup, this poly situation, and my name keeps coming up like I'm part of it." Her tone sharpened with frustration. "I'm tired of being dragged into something I didn't sign up for." Kirk looked like he wanted to disappear. He rubbed his forehead, avoiding eye contact with both women. "Ain't nobody dragging your name, Jasmine," he said, his voice low. "People just say stuff online. We can't control that." Jasmine crossed her arms, unimpressed. "Funny how I only seem to trend when y'all's names are involved." "Coincidence? I don't think so." Rasheeda let out a slow breath, clearly holding herself back. "Look, we've worked hard to rebuild our peace. We don't need this mess right now." Her voice wavered between exhaustion and irritation. "But if you're implying something happened, you better be clear about it." Jasmine stared back, her eyes full of quiet anger. "What I'm implying," she said slowly, "is that people keep twisting narratives to make it seem like I'm chasing clout. Like I'm the villain in a story I didn't even write." The producers exchanged nervous glances. The tension was real, and everyone could feel the emotional weight in the room. Kirk finally looked up, his tone trying to mediate. "This ain't about villains. It's about closure. If you want that, we can talk it out. But we can't keep doing this in front of cameras." Jasmine let out a dry laugh. "Funny, because the cameras never stopped y'all when it was me being humiliated." A brief silence followed, filled with unspoken memories, old interviews, social media call-outs, and that infamous storyline that had left all three entangled in a web of love, betrayal, and public scrutiny. The crew shifted uneasily as Rasheeda stood up, pacing slowly. "You know what hurts?" she began, her voice soft but trembling. "I tried to move on. I tried to forgive. But every time I think we're past it, your name comes back around like a ghost we can't get rid of." Jasmine's expression softened for a second. "I didn't choose to be that ghost, Rasheeda. That's just how this world works. People want drama, they feed off it." Kirk, still seated, looked visibly drained. We all made mistakes, he muttered. But this ain't the way to fix them. Jasmine turned to him sharply. Then what is the way, Kirk? Pretending? Acting like you didn't play both sides back then? Her words hit hard, echoing across the quiet set. Even the cameras seemed to pause for a second before resuming their silent recording. Rasheeda stopped pacing and turned toward Jasmine, her tone shifting from anger to something more vulnerable. Do you really think I didn't feel everything you went through? I was there too, hurting, embarrassed, trying to keep my family together while everyone had an opinion. She paused, her voice cracking slightly. You were part of that pain, Jasmine, whether you wanted to be or not. Jasmine swallowed hard, her tough exterior faltering. I know, she admitted softly. And that's why I came here today. Not to fight, but to clear the air. Because no matter what people say, I'm tired of being defined by a storyline that doesn't reflect who I am anymore. But before the moment could settle, a sudden voice from the corner caught everyone off guard. Yandy had just walked in, her expression one of disbelief mixed with annoyance. What's going on here? She asked, looking around. I leave for 5 minutes, and it feels like World War III in here. Rasheeda turned toward her with a look of pure exhaustion. Girl, it's a long story. Yandy glanced between Jasmine and Kirk, immediately sensing the emotional charge. So this is really happening, she muttered, folding her arms. I thought this was all online chatter. Jasmine sighed. It was supposed to be, but here we are. Apparently, reality doesn't stay on social media anymore. Yandy shook her head. Well, this is exactly why people can't move on. Too many old wounds and not enough real conversations. Rasheeda nodded slowly, though her eyes still held tension. Maybe, but some conversations come at a cost. Yandy gave a faint, knowing smile. Yeah, but avoiding them costs even more. The air shifted slightly, less hostile now, but still charged with history. Kirk stood up, trying to take control of the moment. Maybe this is good, he said, voice steady. Maybe this is what we needed, to stop acting like none of this ever happened. Jasmine looked at him, her expression unreadable. And then what? She asked quietly. We all just walk away like it never mattered. No one answered. Instead, the silence spoke louder than words, filled with years of regret, misunderstanding, and the heavy price of being in the public eye. Outside, thunder rumbled faintly, the kind of cinematic sound that perfectly matched the mood. Inside, the storm was still brewing, and though everyone wanted calm, it was clear that peace wouldn't come easily. Earthing. The air in the studio grew heavier, the kind of tension that seeps into every corner until even breathing feels loud. Jasmine crossed her arms, her expression caught somewhere between defiance and hurt, while Rasheeda slowly sank back into her chair, exhaling like she'd been holding her breath for years. Kirk stood in the middle, glancing between the two women as if trying to find neutral ground in a war zone he once started. But before anyone could speak again, Yandy's voice broke through the silence with sharp disbelief. So this is what all that online buzz was about? People weren't exaggerating after all. Rasheeda shot her a tired look. Girl, you think I wanted this to be a scene? I'm exhausted. Every time I try to move forward, something drags me right back. Jasmine's eyes flickered with emotion. And every time I try to defend myself, I'm called messy or bitter. It's like no matter what I do, I'm the problem. Yandy folded her arms, her tone calm but pointed. Maybe the problem isn't one person. Maybe it's how none of y'all ever really closed this chapter. Everything's just been sitting there festering. Her words stung with truth. Kirk looked down, shaking his head slowly. You might be right, he admitted. But some wounds don't close when everyone keeps reopening them. Jasmine stepped closer, her voice quiet but firm. It's not about reopening wounds, Kirk. It's about acknowledgement. People act like I just appeared out of nowhere and started chaos. But you know exactly how things went down. I didn't ask for this narrative, I got dragged into it. I didn't ask for this narrative, I got dragged into it. The producers whispered off camera, debating whether to intervene or let the emotional storm play out. Yandy raised her eyebrows. Look, I get it. This whole poly relationship talk got the internet spinning. But if folks are saying y'all are in some kind of open setup now, and Jasmine's name keeps being tossed around, that's not just gossip anymore. That's a headline. Rasheeda's tone hardened. And that's exactly why I'm frustrated. People take a rumor and turn it into a circus. One little thing about open marriage, and suddenly I'm the poster girl for something I never signed up for. She turned sharply toward Jasmine. You think I like seeing your name linked with ours again? You think that doesn't reopen old pain for me? Jasmine's lips trembled slightly, though she tried to hide it. I think you still see me as the reason for your pain, when maybe we were all just caught in the same storm. The words hung in the air like smoke, thick and lingering. Kirk rubbed his temples. Both of y'all got a point, but none of this is solving anything. We can't change how people talk, but we can change how we respond. Yandy gave a small nod. Finally, something sensible, she said under her breath. But Jasmine wasn't done. Respond? Kirk, when people accuse me of being part of this new arrangement, do you know how that feels? I've built my life from scratch trying to move forward, and then bam! One storyline drags me back. Rasheeda's jaw tightened. And do you know how it feels to have your marriage constantly questioned? To wake up and see strangers debating your loyalty, your choices, your love? I've worked too hard to be reduced to a meme again. For a moment, both women stood there, mirrors of each other's exhaustion. Different experiences, same scars. Kirk watched quietly, the weight of his past mistakes evident in his silence. Yandy sighed, shaking her head slowly. You two sound more alike than you realize. Both tired, both fighting ghosts, both trying to protect your names. The crew shifted as a small pause settled in. Jasmine's voice softened. You might be right, Yandy. Maybe that's why this still hurts so much. Rasheeda didn't respond immediately, her expression distant, lost in memories of sleepless nights, public humiliation, and the endless task of pretending everything was fine. But then, just as the moment seemed to be calming down, an assistant entered holding a tablet. Sorry to interrupt, she said nervously, but a new post just dropped online. People are saying there's footage from the event last weekend. The one where Kirk was supposedly spotted with Jasmine. The entire room froze. Kirk's eyes widened. What footage? He asked, his tone defensive. Jasmine looked confused. What are you talking about? I wasn't even there. Yandy took the tablet and scrolled, her expression darkening. Well, this ain't looking good. Someone uploaded a clip. It's blurry, but people are already convinced it's you. Jasmine. She turned the screen around, showing the shaky video of a man who resembled Kirk talking to a woman with similar hair and build as Jasmine. The internet was already ablaze with comments, hashtags, and accusations. Rasheeda's face went cold. Wow, she muttered. Just when I thought we were having a real moment. Kirk raised his hands, frustrated. That's not even her. Look at that angle. Look at the lighting. People see what they want to see. Jasmine stepped closer, her tone sharp. I told you this would happen. No matter what I do, I'm always tied to your mess. Yandy's phone buzzed again, more notifications flooding in. It's spreading fast, she said grimly. Blogs are already posting it. The headlines are wild. Rasheeda turned away, muttering under her breath. Here we go again. Her hands trembled slightly as she tried to keep her composure. Kirk moved closer, speaking softly. Baby, I swear that's not her. I wouldn't lie to you about this. She looked at him, her eyes full of disbelief and weariness. You said that before, too. The silence that followed was deafening. Jasmine exhaled slowly, shaking her head. This is exactly why I came here. To stop this cycle. But it's like no matter what, I'm stuck in it. She grabbed her purse, clearly done. Yandy stepped in front of her. Hold on. Walking away ain't gonna fix this. If you leave now, people will think it's guilt. Jasmine paused, glaring at her. So I'm just supposed to stand here and let people drag my name again? Yandy shrugged. Sometimes silence makes more noise than denial. You have to control the story before the story controls you. Rasheeda, still shaken, whispered. And how exactly are we supposed to do that when the internet already made up its mind? Yandy looked at her with quiet determination. By doing what none of y'all ever do. sit down and talk publicly together, without the edits, without the filters. Kirk nodded slowly, realization dawning in his eyes. "Maybe she's right," he said. Jasmine stared at him in disbelief. "You want me to sit next to y'all again after everything?" Kirk met her gaze. Maybe that's the only way to end it. The thought lingered, risky yet strangely appealing. For the first time, it felt like they might actually have a way to take control of the chaos. But the cost of that transparency would be more than any of them were ready for. And as the tension simmered beneath the surface, the faint sound of notifications from phones around them reminded everyone that, in this world, the drama never really stops. It just evolves. The next morning, the city was already buzzing. The clip from the night before had gone viral overnight, reposted, reanalyzed, and exaggerated by hundreds of blogs. Everyone had their own version of the story. Some claimed Kirk and Jasmine had rekindled their secret romance. Others said Rasheeda was playing along for clout. And then there were fans who swore this was all part of a poly-relationship experiment. The internet had turned speculation into a storm. Rasheeda sat by the window of her Atlanta home, scrolling through her phone with a numb expression. The comments were merciless. People questioned her self-respect, her marriage, her decisions. Again. Kirk tried to speak, standing a few feet away. "Baby, you gotta stop reading that mess. They don't know us." She didn't look up. "That's the problem. They think they do, and we keep giving them reasons to." Her voice cracked, and she set the phone down, rubbing her temples. "It's like I can't breathe without somebody turning it into a headline." Just then, the doorbell rang. Kirk glanced toward it, hesitant. "Who is it?" Before he could move, Yandy's voice echoed from outside. "It's me." "Open up, we need to talk." Kirk sighed and unlocked the door. Yandy walked in, holding a folder full of printed screenshots and social media threads. "This thing has exploded," she said flatly. "If y'all don't say something soon, the blogs are gonna run with their own version." Rasheeda frowned. "You mean they haven't already?" Yandy spread the papers across the table. "Look at these comments. Half of them think Jasmine was set up. The other half think Kirk's been playing both sides again. And then there's a whole thread saying, all three of y'all are in some kind of modern relationship experiment. Like, seriously?" Kirk rubbed his face. "People love drama. They'll twist anything to make a story." Yandy leaned forward, her tone serious. "Then give them a different story. Control the narrative. Do a sit-down. Just the three of you. Not some messy reunion setup. Something raw, something calm. People need to see truth, not assumptions." Rasheeda stared at her. "You really think Jasmine would agree to that?" As if on cue, Yandy's phone buzzed. She looked down and raised an eyebrow. "Well, speak of the devil. She just texted me." Meanwhile, on the other side of town, Jasmine was pacing in her living room, phone pressed to her ear. "Yandy, I don't know if I can do that. Every time I get near them, it turns into drama." Her tone was tired, not angry, like someone who had been fighting too long. Yandy's voice came through the speaker, calm but firm. "I know, but this isn't just about them. This is about you clearing your name. If you stay quiet, you're letting the noise win." Jasmine paused, glancing at the TV where a gossip show was replaying the same clip with exaggerated commentary. "They're saying I crashed the event to get attention. I wasn't even there, Yandy. How do you defend yourself against something that never happened?" "By showing up," Yandy replied. "And speaking your truth before someone else does it for you." After a long silence, Jasmine exhaled. "Fine, but I'm not doing it to save Kirk or Rasheeda. I'm doing it for me." Hours later, the three of them sat in a dimly lit studio set designed for an exclusive interview. The tension was palpable, thicker than the air itself. Rasheeda crossed her legs, her face composed but her eyes distant. Kirk sat beside her, hands clasped tightly, while Jasmine sat across from them. Calm, poised, but clearly guarded. The interviewer began softly. "Thank you all for being here. The internet's been going wild over this recent video. Everyone wants to know, what's really going on?" Rasheeda spoke first, her voice low but steady. "What's going on is exhaustion. We're tired of seeing our lives turned into clickbait. People talk like they know everything, but they don't know half of what we've been through." The interviewer nodded, then turned to Jasmine. And what about you, Jasmine? What's your side? She inhaled deeply. I'm tired too. Tired of being painted as the villain every time something happens with the Frosts. I've made mistakes, sure, but I've owned them. This video that everyone's talking about, that's not me. I wasn't there, but people see one shadow in bad lighting, and suddenly, I'm back in the story. One shadow in bad lighting, and suddenly, I'm back in the story. Kirk spoke quietly. I'll say it again. That wasn't her. I don't know who it was, but the internet ran with it before we could even breathe. The interviewer leaned in. There's also talk about an open marriage, or some sort of understanding between the three of you. Any truth to that? Rasheeda laughed bitterly. An understanding? The only understanding we have is that people love to create fiction. We've had our issues, but we're working through them like grown folks. There's no poly anything going on here, Jasmine added softly. And if there was, it's nobody's business. But since everyone's asking, no, I'm not involved with Kirk. Period. The interviewer nodded, clearly feeding off the drama. So, what about the feud with Yandy that people keep mentioning? Yandy, who had been standing behind the camera, stepped forward. That's what happens when opinions turn into headlines. We had a disagreement, but it's not deep. People online made it something it never was. As the interview continued, emotions started bubbling up. Jasmine turned to Rasheeda, her tone sincere. Look, I know I hurt you years ago, and maybe we'll never be friends, but I don't hate you. I just hate being stuck in a story that won't end. Rasheeda's expression softened slightly. I don't hate you either. I just never got closure. I kept moving like everything was fine, but maybe part of me never healed. There was a long, heavy pause. Kirk glanced between them, his voice breaking the silence. Maybe this is the closure. Maybe this right here is how we move forward. For a brief moment, it felt like something real was happening. Not for the cameras, not for clout, but for peace. Even the crew seemed to sense it, their movements quieter, their expressions softened. But just as the tension began to ease, the producer whispered something into the interviewer's earpiece. His expression shifted and he looked back up at the trio. Sorry, but we just got word there's a new post trending. Apparently, someone claiming to be an eyewitness says they saw Jasmine and Kirk together again last night. The room fell into chaos. Jasmine's eyes widened in disbelief. What? That's impossible. I went straight home after meeting Yandy. Rasheeda slammed her hand on the table. I'm done. I can't keep doing this. Kirk stood up, frustrated. This is crazy. How is this happening in real time? The interviewer tried to regain control, but the damage was done. Once again, truth and rumor had collided and nobody could tell which was louder. Yandy's phone buzzed nonstop as notifications flooded in. It's everywhere, she said quietly. They're already spinning it again. And in that moment, as cameras kept rolling and the internet churned out fresh chaos, it became painfully clear. In the world of love and hip-hop, peace is never permanent. The truth is just another storyline waiting to be edited. After the chaos of that studio interview, the tension didn't just fade, it thickened. Within hours, clips and edited soundbites began circulating on every gossip platform imaginable. Fans, bloggers, and even verified accounts were dissecting every breath, every look, every pause between Jasmine, Kirk, and Rasheeda. One fan tweeted, "Rasheeda's eyes said everything. She don't believe Kirk for a second." Another wrote, "Jasmine playing victim again. Same story every season." It was a wildfire, and no one could stop it. Rasheeda sat in her living room later that night, the glow of her phone lighting up her face. She scrolled through the comments quietly. No tears, just exhaustion. Kirk walked in, rubbing the back of his neck. "You're still reading that stuff?" he asked softly. She didn't answer right away, just set the phone down and sighed. It's not the comments that bother me, Kirk. It's the fact that I don't even know what to believe anymore. Every time we try to fix something, another mess shows up. He sat across from her, eyes heavy. You think I did something again? She looked at him, her tone steady but cold. I think the past has a long shadow, and you can't outrun it if you keep standing in the same light. Kirk leaned back, defeated. I can't change what people think, Rash. I can only keep showing up. A knock on the door interrupted the silence. It was Yandy. Again, still caught in the middle of the storm. We need to talk, she said as she walked in, holding her phone like a ticking bomb. This just got worse. Jasmine's gone live. Rasheeda's eyebrows shot up. She what? Yandy placed the phone on the table and pressed play. Jasmine appeared on screen, clearly emotional but composed. I'm tired of everyone lying on me, she said to thousands of viewers tuning in. I've been quiet for too long. I didn't meet Kirk last night. I don't care what anyone says. The footage they're spreading is old. I'm done letting people rewrite my story. Comments flooded the live, some supportive, some brutal. Yandy looked at Rasheeda. This could help her, but it could also blow up even more. People love conflict more than clarity. Kirk buried his face in his hands. We can't win with the internet, man. A few minutes later, Jasmine's tone shifted. And since everyone wants to talk about me and Kirk, let's be real. Yeah, there was a time things got complicated, but I'm not that woman anymore. And whatever he and Rasheeda have, that's between them. I just want peace. Rasheeda exhaled slowly. At least she said that much. Yandy nodded. Maybe it's time you said something too. Not through blogs, not through shade, but your own voice. Sit down, speak your truth. Rasheeda looked at the phone again. Truth, she muttered as if testing the word. The truth is messy, but maybe people need to see the mess. She stood up, determination in her eyes. Set it up, Yandy. Tomorrow. The next day, the set was simpler. No dramatic lighting, no fake energy. Rasheeda sat alone on a couch, the cameras rolling quietly. People think they know my story, she began, her voice soft but confident. They've seen the fights, the tears, the headlines. But what they don't see is the work, the real conversations, the nights we stay up trying to fix what's broken. Kirk and I have made mistakes. I've made mistakes, but at least we're not hiding. She paused, glancing down for a second before continuing. This isn't about defending anyone. It's about not letting strangers tell your story for you. I've learned that forgiveness isn't weakness. It's just choosing peace over chaos. And right now, I'm choosing peace. After the interview, social media went into a frenzy again. But this time, something shifted. Fans began sharing messages of support, commending Rasheeda for her honesty. One tweet read, "This is the most real I've seen Rasheeda in years." Another said, "Growth looks good on her." For once, the noise online wasn't just drama. There was empathy too. Meanwhile, Jasmine reposted a clip from Rasheeda's sit-down with the caption, "Respect." It was simple but powerful. Kirk shared it too, adding only a heart emoji. It wasn't a grand statement, but it was something. As the episode aired that weekend, the world watched the chaos unfold like a cinematic masterpiece. Tears, tension, truth, and transformation. But beyond the drama, something rare happened. Accountability. The final scene showed Jasmine meeting Rasheeda and Kirk again, this time without cameras, just real conversation. Jasmine said quietly, "Maybe this was supposed to happen. Maybe all the mess was just the universe forcing us to grow." Rasheeda smiled faintly. "Maybe. Or maybe we just got tired of being enemies." Kirk chuckled under his breath. "Either way, I'll take peace over pressure any day." As they shared a brief, awkward but genuine laugh, the camera panned out, leaving behind the noise, the rumors, the storm. The moment felt human, raw, imperfect, but real. And even though fans would keep speculating, blogs would keep spinning, and headlines would keep screaming, for that brief window of time, the Frost family, Jasmine, and even Yandy found a fragile kind of calm. Not closure maybe, but a truce. And in the world of love and hip-hop, that's as close to peace as anyone ever gets. What a wild ride, right? From explosive confrontations to unexpected truths, this chapter of love and hip-hop Atlanta had everything. Tension, emotion, and a little bit of healing. But the question now is it really over? Or are we just seeing the calm before another storm? Because let's be honest, when it comes to Kirk, Rasheeda, Jasmine, and Yandy, peace never lasts too long. Fans are already buzzing online, saying they're not buying this sudden truce, while others believe we're witnessing a genuine breakthrough. So what do you think? Is this the start of a new era for the Frost family? Or just another reality TV illusion waiting to crack? Could Jasmine truly be done with the drama? Or will another shocking revelation shake things up again? And what about Yandy? Is she really trying to help or stirring things for attention? Drop your thoughts in the comments because we want to hear it all. Do you think Rasheeda finally found closure? Or did she just settle for silence? And if you love diving deep into this kind of behind-the-scenes chaos, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more exclusive updates, and turn on your notifications so you don't miss a single twist from the world of love and hip-hop Atlanta. Your opinion matters here, and trust me, the next episode of this real-life soap opera might just prove that no one's story is ever really finished.